Hey everyone, Tyler here from Ty and Jimmy Talk. Just giving you a quick little update about some behind the scenes things that are going on at the moment. The astute amongst you may have noticed that there's no video component for today's podcast, and instead this video is going to take the place of that video, at least for today. But don't worry, the audio component of the podcast, the actual podcast itself, is still available on all of the streaming services that you can listen to it on: Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, all of the usual places. And the link to that is down in the description, as always, with all of our other links that you can follow as well. But why no podcast video this week? Well, that's a very simple question with a very simple answer. I didn't have time to do it. I didn't have time to make the video component this week for a multitude of reasons that I wanted to make a video and talk to you about just very briefly. When we're making the podcast, we record it together, and James is responsible for editing the audio that you then hear on Spotify, Apple Music, Google, all of those places. And I take that audio and then cut it together with the video that we take while we record the audio as well. So it's a two-handed operation. He handles all the audio side, I handle all the video side, and that's just how it's always been. It's not a difficult process, but it is a slightly time-consuming one, and naturally James and I both still work full-time. We have jobs, we have lives, we have hobbies, we have interests. This is obviously a very big one of those, but at the end of the day, what it came down to this week was just a lack of time. At the beginning of the week, Monday morning, no less, I had what I believe to be a very serious health scare, and I actually had to take a couple of days off school to go and get some tests done and make sure that everything was okay. And everything is okay, I hope. But it sort of raised a bigger issue with me. I'm feeling very creatively burnt out, and just like my time is stretched really, really thin between working full time, 5 days a week at school, and then whatever other hours that demands during the week as well as, editing videos for this, finding time to record for this, making sure that everything's working. I do all the thumbnails as well, which again, none of this is very difficult, but it's all time. You know what I mean? And alongside all of this on the channel and on the socials, I'm also running my own blog, which I post on weekly and have been posting on weekly for, about a year and a half now, sometimes multiple times weekly. And that's just something I'm doing to keep up with reading and writing, and, to get myself going. I'm also, playing music. I'm also writing music. I've just finished acting in a show. In fact, we closed that show last night after 3 shows over the past 24 hours. So it's been wild. It's been a wild, wild week. And kicking all of that off with a health crisis really put into perspective just how much I'm doing at the moment. And it really put into perspective how much stress everyone is under, somewhat needlessly. I know that James and I sometimes in our videos say the grind never stops, gotta grind out that content, gotta stay on that grind. And that is always and has always been while somewhat factual, it's always been a little bit of a jab at content creators and YouTubers more generally who have that mindset. And honestly, each to their own. Some people make this their full-time job, and I totally respect and understand that. But whenever we're talking about it, we are just kind of mocking that. And I know that, and despite us mocking it, it does sort of still ring true for us as well. We're trying to stick to a schedule, a podcast every week. We're working on a lot of other content behind the scenes right now that we're very excited to share with you. But at the end of the day, I think that mental and especially physical health should come first. And for that reason, I haven't had any spare time this week, and especially mental capacity this week, to sit down and edit together the video component of the podcast. And I know that this is not a channel with millions of subscribers. I know that this is a video that we probably didn't have to make. We probably didn't have to make this. We could have just said, oh, sorry guys, no video this week. It'll be up soon. And that probably would have been totally fine. But I think ultimately the reason I wanted to do this is just to put it out there that if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling physically burnt out, mentally burnt out, please take care of yourself. It took me literally thinking that I was dying for me to take a day off school and rest despite having had so much going on in the weeks and weeks and weeks and Jesus, the whole year leading up to that. I feel like everything just compounded on Monday morning, and I was forced to take a rest day. And it's always really jarring when that kind of thing happens, because I'm such a big advocate for mental health, and with my students at school and with my friends and family, I'm always talking to them about, be honest about your mental health. Like, if you need to take a day off school, if you need to cancel plans, if you need to do any of these things to take care of yourself, then like, please, like, always do. But I can't do that myself. I always commit to plans and I always follow through with them. And when I can't follow through with them, there are only a few people in my life that I'm really genuinely honest with and say, hey, I actually need to stay at home and rest for my mental health. But even in the past week, I've had to cancel plans, and I've told those people that it was physical sickness, that I was feeling stuffy or congested or nauseous or anything like that. And I don't know, because I feel like it's not, to me, for some people and for some plans, it doesn't feel like a valid reason, which is ridiculous because it's always a valid reason. And again, I think that this past week has really put that into perspective for me, and especially how closely linked the physical and mental sides of that are. The symptoms of having a really severe panic attack are very, very close to the symptoms of having an actual heart attack. It's so closely linked, and we don't talk about it enough. And I feel like that is the main reason I wanted to sit down and say all of this. I don't have a script for this either. I'm just I had ideas in my head, but I'm very much just talking at the moment. And any script I did have probably would have gone out the window by this point anyway. All of this to say, please take care of yourself, physically and mentally. And we, James and I, will endeavor to do the same as well. It shouldn't have to take a very severe health incident for you to realize that you might need to take a break or to take a step back from something. And what does that mean for the channel, I suppose, at this point? I'm still very much going to edit together that 12th episode of our podcast for the video. It'll probably be up during the week sometime, time and stress permitting. But ultimately, I think it was more important that, we cut that for today. I take the breather that I need for this weekend. I'm not posting a blog post today either as a result of this. And really just sit and rest and not feel like I have to grind out content for YouTube or for my blog or for anything else, that I can actually just exist and be happy and feel rested, and that is okay. And while I'm here, I do just want to say a very genuine thank you to all of my friends who have reached out in the past week and checked in on me after my little health scare on Monday. And to everyone who's watching or listening or anything like that, use this time to do something that you enjoy as well. Find something that you really want to do, or something that you've been putting off doing. It can be something totally ridiculous, like you just need to go out and buy a new bottle of shampoo or something. Like, just go and do something for yourself. Please go and do something for yourself this week, because it's very, very important that you're taking care of yourself. Thank you all so much for your continued support of everything that James and I are doing, and then in my personal life, if you're following any of that as well. It really does mean the world. And the intention is always to put out the best quality content that I can and that James and I can, to make sure that we're not just sticking to some trend or phase, that we're actually putting out things that we believe in and that we are proud of. And I think ultimately, if I had have tried to put together the video podcast today, I don't think it would have been something that at least I would have been proud of or happy with. So please accept this in the meantime. Please take care of yourself. Go and listen to our podcast on your streaming service of choice, and make sure you stick around for the next video whenever that comes out. Thank you, everyone, and see you all in the next one.